Hi, I'm Dr. Saida Desilets, and this is some questions that were asked during the Journey of Reclamation webinar that I wasn't able to answer them. So I'm answering them here. This series of questions will be around menopause and menopausal questions. There's quite a few of them, so let's jump right in. Okay, the first question. Other than lubricants, what hormone creams or suppositories do you recommend for painful intercourse? So a couple things here. Doing the jade egg practice properly will really help. And then there's some other amazing things that you can do to support the health of your vaginal wall. One of those is DHEA cubes. We mentioned that in the course. They're amazing for that. So you want to do a treatment of that maybe like 3 times a week, as well as this practice. Learning to, like I said, you're going to learn how to consciously receive. Many women have suffered from this. I had a client once, she's now in her 70s, mid-60s, and she hadn't had intercourse with her husband for about 10 years. It's too much, she couldn't do it. After doing this practice, they were able to make love again, and it was just amazing for both of them. So I completely know that you can rejuvenate yourself doing these conscious practices. Pleasure after hysterectomy. There's a few questions like this. So there is an adaptation period of time, obviously. And if there's been a full hysterectomy where they remove the ovaries, then there's a hormonal adaptation time. But here's what's really amazing, and this was discovered by brain scientists, is that the entire body is an erogenous zone. So you can actually retrain your body to respond to pleasure, to create orgasm. You're going to learn in the course that there's literally 63 different pathways to pleasure. And when you learn this, it's just going to open up the realm of possibility for you. So that's one of the really exciting things that happens inside the Jade Egg Mastery course. And yes, I've helped many women with hysterectomies have pleasure. Well, I don't do it myself, but they put in the time and energy, and that is one of the results. So I know that this can happen, but the other thing that needs to happen when we have changes like this is a whole new relationship. We can't relate to ourselves the way we used to. We get to relate to ourselves to the truth of what's emerging now. That's why I love this course, because it's going to help you orient. Instead of being past oriented, you're going to orient to what's happening and emerging now. And you're going to develop a sensuality that's so profound. So you're going to expand your pleasure potential. And that's very important, especially when there's surgeries and things like this that happen. Next question, steps from depletion to fullness, how to build a new spring in our bodies, a cycling nature life. The practices you learn in the 6-week course, foundationally, especially in the beginning, are rejuvenative practices. They're very important for your adrenal health and getting you out of the stress cycle, getting you nourished, getting you rested. You're going to create a different lifestyle for yourself where pleasure is at the forefront. Pleasure is very important for you. That is amazing to bring a new spring to your step, as you write here. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Holding on to our feminine power as we age and society deems us invisible. Do you deem yourself invisible? I know elders who don't consider that to be their truth. That's not how they define themselves, and they're very gorgeous and deeply alive. There's a new orientation. Post-menopause is the power stage of life, ladies. The power stage, when you are actually the most sexual. But this is not taught in our society. Remember, you've taken on the definition that you're not viable past a certain age, and so you live according to that definition, but you can change that definition. I want you to change that definition, and let me support you in that, so we can do that over the next 6 weeks together. It'll be amazing. I need to learn or remember a new way to develop, raise, feel desire being post-menopause into my menopause years, having felt a dramatic change from being sexually driven to having lost interest, living as a single and faced lovingly with exploring these issues myself. Well, one of the things that's important about this is that it's, like I just said, We want to be present oriented and future oriented, not past oriented. We want to be oriented deeply in what's emerging and alive and true now. We want to discover what lights us up now. We want to know what switches us on now. And one of the things that I love about the jade egg practice, again, when it's done properly, is there is an elevation of libido. So all those sleepy libidos, they tend to like perk right up. It's a really cool side effect. We're not looking to have that experience, but it is a side effect of doing the practice. So I'm excited for you. If we're in peri-current menopause and have been working with our hormone balancing, nutrition, all over self-care, what advice do you have for sexual mastery when our body doesn't respond in the way it did before? I advise exploring. When we go through the menopausal portal, we have to die to how it was in a way and be born into a new way of being. Your sexuality is maturing and blossoming in new ways. And if you're looking for the same signals as before, they may not be there and you're missing the new signals that are emerging. So this is very important. So a conscious sexual practice with yourself will help you understand those new signals. In the early stages of perimenopause, I find myself no longer desiring actual sex, but still enjoy the sexual feelings within myself. I feel that I long to tap into this just for myself. This feeling's very selfish and it isn't great for my partner, but it is how I'm honestly feeling inside. I'm struggling with this in my relationship, but it doesn't feel like an issue to me personally. I'm not wishing that I wanted sex. Okay, yes, it does make sense. Your question makes sense. Finding ways to connect with your partner. Sexuality is very important in relationship, and it doesn't like the problem that we have is in the mainstream when we think sex we think intercourse, and sexuality is much bigger than that. Are there fun, sensual, erotic things that you can do together that don't involve intercourse, that don't involve the act of sex, that just simply involve feeling switched on and turned on? We are lazy culturally around sex. So part of the initiation, again, perimenopause, menopause, is that these things need to die. We're invited to become deeply responsible, deeply mature, deeply alive, and reorient ourselves. And yes, sometimes it's distressing to our partner because there's a need there. But is there a bridge? Is there a way that you can feel connected? Part of that will happen naturally as you take time. So if you're in the 6-week course and you're really investing in yourself, there'll be a natural outflow of abundance and beauty anyways, and you'll get insights. So I don't have all the answers for you, but you certainly have the answers in yourself, and they will become more clear as you spend more time cultivating this part of your life. Oh, here we go. How do we heal our peri-postmenopausal symptoms through interacting and embodying with our physiology? How can we reawaken libido after hormonal dips and crashes? So much hormonal inspiration, instigation just isn't there. Yes. What's happening at this stage of life is it's a queening stage. And you'll be less influenced in some ways by hormones. And yet, if you investigate very deeply, you make it a very important inquiry. What lights you up? What does turn you on? And by turn on, I mean the whole body, not just your genitals. Both. Everything. And you invest time in that. And you nourish your adrenals. A lot of ladies, when they first start this program, go through a period where they feel very tired because they're running on depleted energy. So we want to replenish your foundational energy. It's impossible to feel aroused if you're that depleted. So we're going to replenish that and at the same time encourage you to discover ways to ignite yourself. Ladies, thank you. We will talk a lot more about this in those 6 weeks. This is an amazing time for you to claim your body. If you're suffering, if you're going through this phase of life, I would love to invite you into a whole new definition of it, a whole new relationship to it. Let's do it together. So please check out the Jade Egg Mastery Live. If you haven't watched A Journey of Reclamation, watch that as well. There's lots of goodies in there. It's been such an honor to answer these questions. Thank you for sharing them, and we'll talk to you really soon.